Good evening. My name is Tatiana Vasileva from Elena Trading, and I'm very glad that for yet another time we have the possibility to talk with the managers of Sirma Holding, who will be speaking of the third quarter results of the company. We have again Mr. Svetlana Alexiev, who is Chief Executive Officer of Sirma, and Radka Peneva, who is Chief Financial Director of Sirma Holding, and Mr. Jordan Nerev, who will be speaking some more details on the investment plans. Now we have a short presentation, and then you can ask your questions on Sirma Par, the known email, and the Skype address of the company, which you know. Whatever questions you may have, you can ask, and if unanswered, the company will take care to answer later on through email or telephone. Thank you. Hello on my behalf. Thank you very much for this presenting address. Of course, we will be speaking of the results for the third quarter. Another interesting thing is that it's been a year almost since we've been listed on the Bulgarian Stock Exchange. Our shares are being traded there. What happened with the shares of the company over this past 1 year, as expected for us and the market? As I spoke with many key companies on the market, we've been through a year in which the investors were observing what's happening with our company, whether things happen as we promised in the beginning. They were looking if we are growing with the speed we promised, whether we are fulfilling all the steps on our agenda during the opening of the IPO. I believe that regardless of the movement of the price, the fluctuation of the price of our shares, it's natural somewhat mistrust can be observed, and having in mind all the deals that are contracted on the stock exchange. Nevertheless, over the past year, we were easy to expect. Our activities happened as we promised, and we were able to do a lot of work over the past year. It was a very dynamic year. Throughout this year, we had to implement reorganization of the structure, fulfill the investments we've planned. We did all we had said previously, and I hope over the next year, all the projects, products, and companies we've been investing will be giving rewarding results. The share capital, let me just mention several key numbers. 59,361,000. Those are the this is the price of the shares distributed between legal entities, individuals, etc. I will also speak of the key things that happened over the third quarter. In February, we set up a new daughter company of Sirma Solutions. This is Sirma ICS, the capital of which was 300,000 leva, and the main purpose was that this company becomes the main technology partner of the insurance sector by working with broker companies and insurance companies operating on the Bulgarian market, naturally having the ambition to go international. In March, we incorporated another company, making a key investment that we announced during the IPO. This was the incorporation of a daughter company of Sirma Group in the United States. This is the Sirma Group Inc. with the capital of $2 million. The idea of incorporating this company was to focus and concentrate marketing and sales resources due to the intention to dynamically intervene on the American market. In March, we incorporated another daughter company of Sirma Group Holding, Sirma Medical systems, the purpose, the goal of which was to develop a new innovative platform in the field of medicinal services. This is a system for monitoring of diabetic patients. We started with a very strong product. The product of this company was the most downloaded from the Android market, which is a mobile application. We are currently working on a very complex new system which includes a cloud and web application as well, apps also for Android and iOS systems. This overall solution will be launched stage by stage on the market starting March next year. In July, Sirma ITT changed its name to Sirma Enterprise Systems, and it also increased its capital in Leva. What are the key financial data for third quarter? I think we did quite well regarding the revenues. We have 26% growth of revenues. EBITDA has 10% growth, which naturally is somewhat lagging behind the revenues, but that's natural in moments where we're investing and not all the investments can yield immediately, because some of them are costs that have to be made. The net profit for Q3 is 2,403,000 levs. It has a little growth compared to the previous year, but as I said, the reason is that this year is a year we are making a lot of investments, and we are also generating costs because our next year's goal is to have the return on this year's investments. We also increased the revenues, the percentage ratio of revenues on the American market, which was one of the goals, which was the purpose of two of the investments that we made. On this chart you can see the distribution of revenues per region around the world. Now, talking about the different companies throughout this Q3, several key figures. The revenues of Sirma Holding from 1,082,000 increased to 1,737,000. The Datacom revenues were 2,054,000 to the figures you see. Sirma Enterprises increased 96,000, etc. You can read all the figures on the slides. Most of the companies in the group show a significant growth over this quarter 3. What are the investments that we made in the period of this year up until now? As I said, one of the key investments is $2 million US dollars in our company in the USA. It's called Sirma Group Inc. and it's based in New York. The purpose of this company is to develop the business of all the companies within the group and to help the selling of their products and services more successfully on the market of the United States. The head offices in Jersey City and a smaller office in New York. We also hired a team initially of 7 people. We have a net vice president for business development. What we also managed to achieve, a lot of work, is to realize the portfolio of all the companies within the group And we also made an estimation as to which product we can initially start with, promoting our activities in the USA, and which products and services need further development and also restructuring with regard to the specifics of the American market. Things in the United States are relatively simple. You need a product or a service that you can actually describe in 2 sentences. It should be very clear who the target group is. It should be extremely clear what the client will receive. It may seem very simple, but when you have tens and products of services in your portfolio, everything has to be considered with regard to the specifics of the market, and that's the American market. Currently, we are starting with the pilot products and services, and those are EngView systems. They will be selling their CAD/CAM software, packaging and display designer suite. We also started the sales of ScanFit and Measure. It's a product related to the measurement, and we are currently expanding the distributor networks of this product in the United States. Onto's network is increasing the sales of structured solutions for the finance and pharma industries. We've started meetings and events. We are expecting a very large project happening very soon for Ontotex in the vertical cross-industry project. Sirma Enterprise System started a new web service which we call Go Digital, and now we have more than 10 leads, and our hope is that by the end of the year we'll be able to sign the first contract in the area for Sirma Solutions. The office will be focusing on selling services in the field of cybersecurity. And in the vertical cultural heritage, we have a very good development. Now we launched the production of Sirma Enterprise Systems platform for museum clients, and the National Gallery in Washington is one of the first clients, along with some other large American museums. What are the competitive advantages of Sirma in the United States market? We're a group of companies specializing each specializing in a certain sector. At the same time, we are trying to achieve a very strong synergy between the products and the services which are sold by each company. We have the opportunity to combine different technologies, different types of knowledge, and to create very complex solutions which cannot be offered by other companies. It is extremely valuable for our American partners and clients that the owners of the company are managers that are very actively involved in the activities of Sirma, and this increases the level of trust of the clients and partners. The fact that the company is mature, almost 25 years present on the market, is also appreciated, as is the fact that the key shareholders who started the company are still together working side by side. This proved to be very well appreciated and valuable for the American market. Naturally, we keep on learning, as we've always did, and And it's the first time now that we are trying so dynamically to fine-tune the organization of the company so as to be successful on the American market. In Sirma Solution, we made an investment of 1,234,000 leva, which we used for the increase of the capital and the sales capacity of the company in the United States and Boise, Idaho. And we also increased the technical capacity of the American company, which means that we not only have salesmen and marketing people, we also have project managers, senior technical specialists who are Native Americans, who are helping us earn projects and strike deals with the American client, because they know what the American client wants. They have the same mentality, same language and culture as well. Sirma Medical Systems, as I said, is a company working in the field of healthcare services, and it's developing the platform for management of chronic disease. This is the first one referring to management and monitoring of diabetic patients. An investment in the improving of products of this company, Sirma Solutions, were made. We also invested further money in the further development of works. We have our clients in Asia. We hope that sales will increase over next year because the product is getting better and more competitive on the world markets. Currently, we are investing in the field of computer side. We are also preparing a product in the computer eye side related to sales and marketing, which we are intending to launch and market next year. It will be very innovative and interesting, but I will speak of it when it's ready to be launched and marketed. We also set up Sirma ICS. As I said, this is a company which provides solutions for the insurance sector. Sirma ICS in itself developed and improved the software it works on, its broker platform, Sirma Broker Platform. We prepared for the development of new products in the field of insurance. We completed a new product, online insurance, and we also established business relationship with the 13 largest insurance companies who became our partners, or should we say clients. And clients of our broker platform are some of the biggest broker companies in Bulgaria. We are almost holding the monopoly in this insurance field in Bulgaria. Ontotex continued its investments of its key projects in Bulgaria. We're currently discussing participation of Sirma Group in the increase of the capital of Ontotex, some €500,000 for the implementation of the new product strategy of the company. Sirma Enterprise System continued the development of its key product called Sirma Enterprise Platform. This is a very innovative business platform which allows the use of very complex business applications very fast. This platform uses the semantic graph base of Ontotext. Thus, we were able to make the platform as so useful that for 1 or 2 weeks it can be set up to provide complex vertical solution to manage processes and document flow, and provides a platform for collaboration in all of the verticals that we are operating in. I also mentioned that we launched a new cloud service called Digital, and currently we are awaiting the first sales of this product on the American market, of this service in the American market. In EngView systems, we also observed very interesting development. The key thing being that last week we announced the new Mac Access version of the key product of EngView in the field of packaging, and it's indeed very well received. There is a great interest in it, because we are the first producer of such type of software that is also launching a version of the product for Mac Access. In EngView, we also develop 2 very innovative online services which will be launched in the beginning of next year. In Sirma Business Consulting, we continued the development of the key products of the company, UBX, the reporting system, which are getting better and better. I should say that Sirma Business Consulting contracted a very large-scale project with Raiffeisen Bank Bulgaria, and this year company is advancing very well. Going to Daticom, I should say that Daticom made an investment improving its cloud platform, and it also made a key investment in its attempt to provide backup services of its clients. Other services were developed, disaster recovery services, and together with Microsoft, a cloud Microsoft Vision service was also developed as a service. Those are the key business events and the key pillars that we invested over the 3rd quarter. And as I said previously, this year was very dynamic indeed. Currently, we are accounting for the first 9 months of the year, naturally, but I hope that we will finish 2016 in a similar successful manner, and I should hope 2017 will be even better. So that's on my part. Now questions will be taken. First question is, what are the reasons for the increase of revenues, however profit is not influenced, and why are it so why are the estimates so long after the IPOs, maybe for the profit and revenues as well? I don't think that the forecasted results are far from the now shown. I think they're pretty near. So you believe that the results for 2016, as estimated during the IPOs, will be completed at the same levels? I believe, yes, the annual results will be very close to what we forecasted in the beginning. I believe that the growth we've shown over the past 9 months is very good. I don't think we gave quarterly forecasts because our business is sometimes very seasonal. Traditionally, we have a very strong fourth quarter. Now, regarding the profit, as I said, the growth of profit is not as big as it could have been, because this is a year of investments. Not all the investments made during 1 year can be capitalized immediately. Much of the money invested in marketing, or say PR or advertisement, or for development of products, for research, can return immediately. It's all costs, but these costs will yield growth of profit and revenues over the next years. Now, your estimates for 2017. How about 2070s? What are your expectations then for 2017? Can you give some parameters? We're not yet ready with parameters of our expectations for 2017 because we haven't finished planning the activities of each company, because it's a very complex process, as you may imagine. We are a large organization. Naturally, we will announce the plans and the forecasts for 2017, but right now we are accounting for the results of Q3. Next question is related to the fact that the company is planning increase of equity of capital over the next year. This was discussed in an interview this week. Can you say when exactly this increase is planned and what are the parameters of the increase? Maybe our colleague Jordan Nedev can answer this, because he is the person responsible in our investments and acquisitions unit. Good evening, everyone. 1 year ago, with the IPO, we set up a novelty activity in our group. I mean, something braver as a step, because we've been always investing in our group, but the IPO is advanced. As all investors know, this was not fulfilled 100%. We only reached maybe half of the intended results. Now, this means that we now have many ideas for investments, projects and businesses that we see we can add value to, and maybe have return in the future. And currently we are embarking on this line of activity, trying to attract more money in order to be able to fulfill our strategic goals. We've been discussing our strategic goals on many occasions, and we spoke of them for a period of 6, 7, 8 years from now, and the biggest goal being going international on the international stock exchange. And I believe that all the investors would agree that it's a reasonable goal. Now, in order to reach this goal, we need many prerequisites. We need to expand, say 5 times the size we are now. We need to reach levels that will be seen on the international markets, and it's all related to investments. Investments can come from internal investors. This can happen sometimes slowly, and if international investors are attracted, this can go more smoothly and even faster than expected. In this context, we cannot be too brave in the future, but we are trying to attract investments as many as possible in the field that we are knowing what we are doing, and maybe this will take the form of increase of capital of our smaller daughter companies, or maybe we can increase the capital of the holding company through the stock exchange transactions, but we cannot provide exact parameters currently. The only thing that will not happen, and that's for sure, nothing will happen at the expense of the investments of our current shareholders. The capital will not, the price of the shares will not grow to depreciate. We will not sell at prices that are lower than the cost value of the shares of our investors. So I am sorry we cannot satisfy the interest of the audience saying how exactly increase of capital will happen, but the overall objective is to fulfill our strategic plans. Nothing concrete I can share right now, but when we have concrete plans, I will duly inform the audience. In conclusion, the overall objective is to grow in terms of size and quality, and the profit will hopefully grow in line with the revenues. But we cannot have this happening at the same time, revenues and profit. We are trying to increase in revenues naturally without having the profit suffering too much or being at a loss, but we cannot have parallel growth, and I think Tsvetan explained this before. The additional costs directly influence the financial results negatively, and those are costs that cannot return quickly. They need a year, 2 or more, to a yield return. And let me add something else. What I'm thinking and planning together with my colleagues is an extraordinary webinar in February, which will not speak only of the financial results and will not only describe the business events within the group, as we usually do, but this will be a special purpose webinar that will discuss the product and technological strategy. We were able to do a lot in order to clarify our plans in the different strategic verticals that we are operating, and we also worked to define our products, and we are ready with several new, very innovatory and world products, and we will be discussing this with you at such special purpose webinar, because I believe that it's very important for our investors to know which direction we are headed in and what's the meaning of everything we do. The next question is connected to investments in salesmen, managers, and the question is how many people you've hired with regard to increasing the dynamics of these activities. Well, this was shown on one of the slides. Currently in the United States we have, I believe, 8 people. In Boise we also hired several more. I cannot say specifically, but I believe 4 or 5 people. It's Sirma USA's sales results are very important. I did not mention this specifically during the presentation, but the sales of solutions of Sirma ASAs have grown 3 times compared to the same period in the previous year. Now, it was clear that Sirma Solutions will be yielding fast results in this respect because we started working on this in the beginning of 2015, as early as then, and we are now seeing the results. And I also hope and believe that the same thing will happen with the office we set up on the eastern coast, New York and Jersey. The 2 of the companies in which invested have return on the investments that are bigger than the investments actually, and that's a very good result for the overall investment program of the group. The next question is related with the segments on the grounds of which the company is using to grow. Fintech, cloud and system integration are the segments that have been pulling the company forward in terms of revenue. Do you think that this trend will continue at least until the end of this year? And what are your expectations? What are the key segments that will be taking the company forward over the next year? System integration was a very strong segment this year indeed. I hope will remain such in next year. Now the good result, the reason for it is the big European companies implemented by Bulgarian companies that use European funds to develop new IT structure and to increase, say, the computer equipment they were using to develop new software, etc. Over the next year, this trend will continue because we have projects that will continue in 2017. What did not happen in 2016 was related to the incomes from the public sector. In solutions, we had previously planned only 2,300,000 coming from public sector, but unfortunately this was not realized, and by the end of the year we will only have return of under 500,000 levels. The reason for this was, on the one hand, the fact that public organizations and the state were waiting for the approval of EU funds, which only happened in March or April this year, later than expected. And after this, instead of working with ready projects, they started preparing the projects. This was a big delay for key projects in Bulgaria, which were not launched timely. The state indeed needs, on a large scale, IT structure. Bulgaria is lagging behind compared to most European countries. Currently, we are witnessing the fact that there is a political crisis in Bulgaria, which is also bad for our industry and others. So for next year, our expectations for a return from the public sector projects are not big. We'll be looking abroad because in the context of political instability, this is a segment that is difficult to realize. We have many plans related to projects in the field of production. Engview is doing just fine currently. In 2017, we will be launching, as I said, 2 very innovative products in the field of machine building. Sirma Enterprise Systems will be offering another solution, and we are hoping that in this particular sector of business we will be growing cultural heritage. As I said several weeks ago, we launched the production of this new system for the museums, and next year we will be selling it around the world. The idea being to attract all big museums around the world to use our platform. We also have very interesting opportunities to explore in the field of life sciences, say healthcare services or production of pharmaceutical companies. Pharmaceutical companies in New York are a potential large client of our products and services. Therefore, we are expecting good results there. So these are more or less the key activities. Let me add that at the end of the year, we'll be presenting results, but changing a little bit the segments, and we will remove the old results to the new segments because a decision was made, and it's uploaded on the site of the company as well, to use different segments as compared to previous periods. We've prepared the financial statements of the companies, and you will see the financial statements. There will be possibility to compare with previous periods, but segments will be different. Then by the end of the year we'll have some more real results, and we will adapt them to this year's production strategy of the company. Maybe I should say that yes, Sigma has a comparatively new website. It's still to be finalized, but it's oriented towards sales and marketing activities of the company. You can see the key industries we operate in, the key products in each of these industries, and as I previously said, in the United States we are presenting ourselves as Sirma only. We don't want to confuse the audience with many companies that we operate with. So we speak of Sirma, of its products and services. It's all uploaded on the website. I hope we have a very good menu related to investor connections, relations, and investors. They can find all useful information. So this was another thing we were able to do throughout the year, and I will be very glad to receive any type of feedback related to the site, website, technologies, products, industries, whatever. And there are 2 more questions that arrive through Skype or email. You can ask questions on ir@sigma.com or ir Skype. The reiteration of revenues is related to the next question. I believe 33% was the Indeed, there is a very good repetition of revenues this year. Analysis showed that by the end of this year, the percentage we will reach will be 38 or 40%. Currently, the analyses are relative because there are several unfinished projects that we have to account for, and currently we are maintaining the level of repetition of revenues, but we believe that by the end of the year this value will be above 38%. Along with that, I would like to say that the forecasted results that we had announced in the beginning of the IPO will be also realized over the next years. But the change of strategy and the plans of the group for the financing, the acquisitions and expansion will change the results in a positive direction. But I believe that, I hope that we will give specific results in March or with the final financial statements for 2016 in May or June. But I want to highlight that we've done a lot. We started many projects that require a lot of funds to allow the growing of the group. And the last question is related to Ontotex activity. Will Ontotex be able to achieve some growth in revenue this year? I think the company will be able to achieve a little bit more than expected. Ontotex naturally is exerting efforts mainly to commercialize the large amount of expertise and knowledge accumulated so far. But this is connected to dedication of special resources that would otherwise go for consultancy or service products that would generate more revenue. Now, regardless of that, the company is doing very well and will mark growth, provided that 60% or more than its technical personnel is currently busy with the commercialization of the activities. And I believe this would be a great result if they are able to succeed. Unfortunately, this year, provided the overall situation happening in Bulgaria and throughout the European Union, Ontotex was not able to dedicate resources for R&D from the European Union that in other years were attracted as and realized later on as revenues, which basically means that EU funds are less than expected. Nevertheless, the results of Ontotex by the end of the year of, say, 10%, I believe is a great achievement. On my behalf, I would like to thank you for the time shared and for the exhaustive answers. There are no more questions. Hopefully next year the final financial results will be good ones. Everybody have very merry holidays coming soon. What we can do, we will do, and I hope we will achieve even better results than you expected for next year, so that we can finish 2016 in a successful manner and continue being optimistic for 2017. For me, also very merry holidays. Thank you.